Okay, so you're here with us again on the deep dive because you know time is precious, right?
You want that info, but you don't want to get bogged down in the weeds.
Yeah, you want to get straight to the core of it all. And today we're diving deep into the world of Pinterest.
Yeah, and the material you flagged uh, really zeroes in on how businesses can use it.
How businesses and brands can really leverage it.
Yeah,
So
leverage it.
that's going to be our focus today. And what's great is the sources you've picked out, they really take aim at that.
Absolutely, yeah.
So for those listening in, our mission today is to really break down how Pinterest works and maybe even more importantly, how you can use it to amp up your own results starting like right now.
Yeah, the sources are really clear about Pinterest being a visual platform first and foremost, right?
Yeah.
It's all about the images. It's growing so rapidly. And it's interesting because, unlike other social media sites, it's not so much about, broadcasting your every move. You know what I mean? It's about discovering and organizing visual content,
hmm
which is just a completely different approach.
Absolutely. And over 10 million people are checking out Pinterest every single month.
Every month.
And get this, over 2 million are using it every day,
Yeah.
which is incredible.
Yeah.
They're not just passively scrolling either. They're actively searching for ideas, inspirations, things that grab their interest, and for a business. I mean,
Yeah.
those are some serious numbers to pay attention to,
You can't ignore that.
especially if you want to connect with people who are already primed to explore and discover new things.
I think one of the sources actually made a really cool analogy to those like old school bulletin boards.
Right.
The ones you used to see in like community centers or grocery stores.
Yeah.
It's like taking that idea, that space where you pin up interesting stuff
hmm
and putting it online for the whole world to see.
And it's global.
Global. Yeah, exactly. Instead of like thumbtacks and paper, we're talking digital images and links.
So think about it from a business perspective.
Hmm.
Every time you create a pin, it's like you're putting up a virtual flyer. And that flyer stays up there for anyone to see, potentially reaching thousands of people every single day.
Constantly working for you.
The branding potential there is huge. And it's not just for like niche businesses or anything. The material shows that tons of companies, big and small, are really embracing this.
I was going to say, yeah, from solopreneurs to major brands.
They're all coming up with some really clever Pinterest strategies.
Absolutely.
So we've got a good handle on what Pinterest is, why it matters. So let's talk about actually making it work for us.
Yeah, the sources are all about this idea of the image being king.
Yeah, it's all about the visual.
Right. It's a successful P. It's got to have that strong imagery to stop people in their tracks.
So it's about being strategic about what visuals you create,
Right.
what you collect, and how you showcase it all. And that doesn't just mean stuff from your own website, right?
Exactly. You want to pull in relevant stuff from other sources too.
Yeah.
Things that fit your niche,
Mm-hmm.
things your audience would be into.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You're basically building a visual story for people who are actively exploring things they care about.
Absolutely. And what I like is it's not limited to just products that are already super visual.
Right. Right.
The material breaks down how different types of businesses can find their own angle.
Oh, for sure.
So let's say you're selling physical products, T-shirts, books, handmade stuff.
Yeah.
Then your Pinterest boards become like these awesome online catalogs.
Exactly. Like digital window shopping.
Yeah, and it's open 247 to millions of potential shoppers.
And I'm thinking, what about those businesses with digital products,
Yeah.
the online courses, the ebooks and all that?
Right.
The sources suggest visualizing your entire brand,
Yeah, like bringing it to life visually.
DSF. I think Logos ebook covers graphics that showcase your services,
Mm-hmm.
creating a whole visual identity.
And it doesn't stop there. You can even branch out beyond the typical product shots,
Oh, yeah.
and use other types of visual content you might already have.
Like what kind of stuff?
Think about things like spreadsheets, where you can present data visually or eye-catching graphs and charts.
Mm-hmm.
Even mind maps that break down complex ideas.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's all about finding the visual story within your work.
That's a cool way to put it, finding the visual story.
And the sources give some great real-world examples.
Oh, yeah, like who?
Well, there's Etsy, for one.
Oh, yeah, Etsy?
Their Pinterest page, it's not just about Etsy itself.
Right.
It's a showcase for all the incredible creators on their platform.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, you've got handmade crafts, vintage, finds unique designs.
It's like a celebration of creativity.
Exactly. And then you've got those big brands like Sony Music and Pepsi.
Right, even industries that aren't inherently visual. They're
So-
finding ways to connect with their audience through Pinterest.
And then for those online businesses, we've got Mashable as a prime example.
Oh, yeah, Mashable.
They really show how you can drive targeted traffic to your website by turning your blog posts into these visually appealing summaries.
Yeah, so instead of just a wall of text, you're giving people a visual hook. Something that makes them want to click and learn more.
Let's say you have a blog post titled, like, The Top 10 Strategies for Boosting Website Engagement.
Okay.
Instead of just sharing the link, Mashable might create an image that represents website engagement and then have 10 points summarizing each strategy.
Right, and then that image links back to the full article.
Boom, someone's scrolling through Pinterest, they see that engaging image, they click out of curiosity, and next thing you know,
They're on your website.
there's on your website ready to dive deeper, and you can guide them to wherever you want.
Sales pages, lead magnets, your other social media.
The possibilities are endless.
So smart.
And then we can't forget about the power of going viral on Pinterest.
Oh, yeah, the sources really emphasize that.
This is where it gets really exciting.
So how does that work?
Well, if someone comes across your pin and they think it's interesting or useful,
Yeah.
they can save it to their own boards.
Repeat.
Exactly, and that instantly shares it with all of their followers.
Creating a ripple effect.
It's like word of mouth, but on steroids.
And the reach can be insane.
Yeah.
You know, there are stories of pins getting repinned thousands of times.
It's amazing. And then you've got that, like, count, you know?
Right, social proof.
People see that others are loving it, and they're even more likely to engage.
That's the beauty of it.
And the best part is, you don't need to be some graphic design guru to make this work.
You don't need fancy software or anything.
Often the simplest, clearest visuals are the ones that hit the hardest.
It's true.
Think about a clean shot of your product with a clear call to action.
Yeah, or an image with a trending news headline that links back to your analysis of the topic.
You just got to be creative and capture people's attention in that split second as they're scrolling.
So many possibilities.
And the material highlights that the most successful Pinterest marketers, they use a whole mix of visuals.
Yeah, you got your product photos, your charts, your cartoons, you know.
Anything that builds brand recognition in a creative way.
If it works, it works.
And there's this awesome section in the material with quick start ideas.
Oh, love those quick start things.
Things you can implement right away.
Like what?
Well, for one, sharing funny images related to your industry,
Okay.
but make sure they link back to your website for the full context.
Smart.
You can also do Pinterest contests and giveaways, you know, encouraging people to repin your content.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
And then there's using high-quality stock photos.
Always got to make sure you have the right licenses, though.
Absolutely. But they can add a lot of visual interest to your boards.
For sure.
Don't forget about educational visuals, too.
Give me an example.
Like if you're in the social media space, you could create a graphic showcasing the top performing platforms.
Okay, yeah.
Or if you're in the health and wellness niche, an infographic about the benefits of exercise.
People love that stuff.
Those sorts of visuals, they get shared like crazy.
They do. So how about those strategies for getting maximum exposure? You know, getting all that free traffic.
Yeah. Right. One really interesting approach is creating pins around current events.
Oh, yeah, newsjacking.
Exactly. And then linking them to articles on your website that have affiliate offers.
Okay, I like where this is going.
So let's say there's news about, like, Apple's new iPhone failure.
Ouch.
You could create a pin about it and link to an article comparing alternative phones with affiliate links to buy them.
Oh, that's so smart.
You're capitalizing on what people are already talking about
You're riding the wave.
and potentially earning some commissions in the process.
I love it.
And it's important to remember the core functionality of Pinterest.
Right.
How easy it is to collect and display images, explore other people's boards, and create themed collections.
It's all about that visual discovery.
And while people often think of Pinterest for things like fashion or photography,
Those visually driven niches.
the material makes it clear that with a bit of creativity,
Yeah.
almost any business can find a way to leverage it.
They gave that example of the Twitter cheat sheet
Right.
that got pinned thousands of times.
It shows that you can find a visual hook for even the most seemingly non-visual topics.
So true. It's about thinking outside the box.
So what kind of visual content can you create that provides real value or entertainment?
Yeah.
Think graphics, data visualizations, infographics.
Oh, sky's the limit.
And don't underestimate the power of user-generated content.
Oh, yeah. Get your audience involved.
You can do contests where people create images featuring your brand.
Like using your product or something.
Exactly. It generates fresh content and builds a sense of community.
And don't forget about cross-promotion.
Oh, yeah.
Sharing your Pinterest boards on your other platforms.
Especially Twitter.
Yeah. Driving traffic back and forth.
Absolutely. And then there's this cool direct selling feature on Pinterest.
Oh, tell me more.
You can literally add a $ before a price in your pin's description, and it creates a price tag.
Wow, so you can sell directly through Pinterest?
You can sell photos, stock
Yeah.
images, logos, all sorts of stuff.
That's amazing.
And circling back to that idea of using what you already have. Those image-based training materials and visual tutorials, they can be repurposed for Pinterest,
Absolutely. Turn those assets into popular pins.
extend their reach, and provide value to a whole new audience.
It's a win-win.
And the big takeaway here is that you gotta be proactive.
Yeah.
Add those follow me on Pinterest buttons everywhere.
To your website, your blog.
Pin content from others that aligns with your audience's interests.
Yeah. Be a part of the community.
And consistently provide value by helping people discover new visuals.
Build those relationships.
And throughout the material, they keep coming back to these successful examples.
Like those we talked about.
Mashable, Sony Music, Etsy.
Yeah.
They've all figured out how to make Pinterest work for them
By really understanding its visual nature.
and delivering content that their audience loves.
Exactly.
So to sum it all up for you listening,
Yeah.
Pinterest is this powerful platform with huge reach.
Massive reach.
And the key is creating visuals that stand out and get people sharing.
You want that viral spread.
And the sources, they give us all these practical strategies for businesses.
From showcasing your products and services.
To tapping into trending topics.
And building a loyal following.
You can boost your visibility, generate leads.
The whole 9 yards.
And here's something to ponder.
Okay.
With visual content becoming even more dominant online,
Everywhere you look.
how might these Pinterest strategies become even more important in the future?
That's a good question.
And what other platforms might start adopting a similar approach?
Food for thought.
Something to think about before our next deep dive.
I'll be thinking about it.
Until then, keep exploring.
And happy pinning.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.